The Adirondack Hunt Podcast is brought to you in part by Seek Outside Tents. Seek Outside is an American company producing lightweight, versatile tents and titanium stoves. The Big Woods Bucks team and their friends have hunted the Adirondacks with Seek Outside hot tents and found that it's the best way to get back into the wilderness areas and have a remote hunt. With few roads and hiking trails the only way to access the extensive backcountry of the Adirondacks, your pack needs to be as light as possible. Seek Outside's lightweight tents and stoves enable you to get back there into the most remote country and hunt mature Adirondack bucks that likely have never seen a human being. Use code BWB at checkout on SeekOutside.com and get 10% off your Seek Outside gear. Good luck on your remote hunt in the big woods. Welcome to the Adirondack Hunt Podcast, a Big Woods Bucks production. In this podcast, the Big Woods Bucks crew from New York sits down and discusses all things hunting and even a little fishing within the blue line. 6 million acres of old-growth forest and few roads make the Adirondacks one of the most challenging places to hunt in the country. From Iroquois and Algonquin deer drives to the early days of Adirondack guiding, the team discusses the history, legends, and lore of these ancient mountains. Along the way, the team interviews top Adirondack hunters, from well-known legends to little-known local legends, homing in on what it takes to be successful in these unforgiving woods. All right, welcome back to the Adirondack Hunt Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Connor, Big Woods Bucks CEO and video guy. We're back here with another episode. Quick shout-out to Luke from the Lake Pleasant Marina. Luke said hi. He's a supporter. We really appreciate you, Luke. All right, so we're here today in Saratoga County, Gansevoort, New York. And we're with a guest who I'm really looking forward to talking to, and I think you guys are going to like a lot. His name is Guy Swears, and Guy and I met on Facebook and started talking, and I immediately knew this is somebody who we should have on because he's just he's got a wealth of hunting experience in the Adirondacks, a wealth of stories to share, and I'm really happy that you're willing to share them because it's somewhat unusual for Adirondack hunters to share a lot of their secrets. But like you'd said just before we started, you want to give back a little and help those who are trying to learn how to do it, which we really appreciate. That's what we're about here at Big Woods Bucks, is about education through entertainment and helping you have a big woods adventure. So I neglected to introduce my co-hosts, but I think you know them.
Austin Sheeran.
And Mark Sheeran.
All right. So welcome to the podcast, Guy.
Thank you for inviting me to do this.
Yeah. So as often happens, some of the best stories get told just before we start recording, but we'll try to get them back out of you. So
I think I can remember them.
All right, good, yeah. So, it's hard to know when you're looking at a wall like this where to start. But, I think where did your big woods hunting journey start?
Well, I actually started with that photograph I showed you of my uncles and my grandfather hunting in the fish ponds area back post World War II.
Okay.
And they tented back in there, and they were pretty successful.
Yeah, okay. And tenting back then was giant wall tent, right?
Oh, yeah, heavy.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
These guys were tough. I mean, and they dragged me around the woods like I was a rag doll. And, I'd be breathing my tongue on the ground and covered with leaves, and they'd be out of sight. Climbing them big hills. So they were great Adirondack hunters.
So they were... This is something we discussed before, because I know some of those old camps they packed in on horses. Did you guys pack them on your backs, or were you packing horses?
Well, I mean, obviously this was before my time, but I believe they just muscled this stuff in there.
Yeah.
It was, from where that picture was taken, I think it's about a 4-mile hike from the parking lot.
Yeah, that's no joke.
I hunted down in there for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Pretty successful.
Yeah. So, and you've hunted all over the Adirondacks, right?
Yeah. I've chased whitetails all over the Adirondacks. It's an addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
as you know.
Yeah, I know for sure. We're definitely addicted. So, did you settle on any one area where you shot more than others?
For a while, I spent 4, 5, 6 years in one area, and then say, maybe it's time to go. I heard about a spot over here, or try something a little different. I've been all over the central Adirondacks, all the way up into St. Lawrence County in the Five Ponds area, and a little bit farther south in Lake George area, even been successful at. So really it's about, finding a place that you're comfortable with, you can reach conveniently without having to spend 5 nights in a motel, because it gets pretty expensive.
Yeah.
I like the tent.
So, go ahead, Austin. You're gonna ask.
Yeah, we like the tent too for that reason. It's a
Yeah.
lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're there, you're in the woods, you feel like you're part of the scenery, and,
Yeah.
and the hunt's stronger, and the bullshit that goes on at night too,
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
It's
Yeah.
just nice to be able to hunt like right out of the tent.
Exactly.
You don't have to
You can
spend
get
all
up
the time
earlier
traveling.
in the morning, be going in at daylight and not feel tired and dragged because you drove 2 hours to get there, and it just makes it a lot better hunting for me anyway. I think you probably feel the same way.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely agree.
So you said you grew up in this general area.
Yes.
And did you chase like farm country, low country?
At that
bucks?
point in time, yeah, that was the only option I had, except for once or twice a year I'd be able to go into the tent with my uncles
Right.
and started out there, and then they eventually bought a permanent camp and hunted in there a few times, and I learned a lot. It's like, they liked to make drives back in those days, and
Yeah.
and that was good for me because it taught me the country,
Yeah.
the lay of the land. Where they would say, well, we're gonna hunt this hill or that hill, and I learned the lay of the land and where the runways were, and how to look for them. So that was really helpful. But as time moved on, I just felt the need to do a little more wandering.
Yeah. So did you get into tracking early on and still hunting?
Some we would, like, if the old timers were tired,
Yeah. Right.
we'd make fun of them, and then we'd go out and track.
Yeah. Right.
If we had snow. I mean, the thing in this area is we don't always have snow for hunting season,
Right.
which then I learned to dry hunt,
Yeah. Yep.
and that's a whole different ballgame.
So what years are we talking about? What decade is this? That
It would have been in the 60s for me.
Okay, so this is before Larry Benoit's, 1970s.
I didn't know who Larry was.
So the tracking thing was something that you were doing already, or
Yeah, it just became nature that there's a track and then it's a buck. Let's go see where he's going.
yeah,
And even if we didn't catch up with that buck, we learned a lot about where he moved.
yeah,
Where he liked to bed, and traveling different hills and runways and guts, and you learn the habits of the deer, even though you might not never shoot that deer.
right.
I learned a lot about that, and as time went on, I developed and honed these skills. I hunted alone a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like when you shoot a 220-pound buck back 5 miles. Then the work begins.
Well, I don't know because I've never shot a 200.
Well, I'll show you where there's a few.
There you go.
yeah,
That's what we're really here for, guys.
Yeah.
I'll pick my brain.
but I've shot enough bucks to know that dragging them out 4 miles is miserable, no matter how big they are.
That's
Yeah.
why I do it now.
Yeah.
He does it for me.
Yeah,
Dragger.
my Boone and Crockett buck that's right there. I shot all alone at 3:30 in the afternoon on a light snow, and I was like 4 miles from my truck, and I got him all dressed out and everything, and started pulling, and my flashlights batteries all went dead.
Yeah.
But luckily, it was a full moon. Didn't even dawn on me till I shut the flashlight off, and then I said, "Wow, it's like I could see without the flashlight."
Yeah.
And then I'd go 25 yards. I'd set him down. I'd go back and grab the gun and the pack and everything, drag that out 200 yards, set it down, go back and get the deer. In that whole relay process, I was able to get him out by myself. And this was 4 months after back surgery.
Right.
Wow. How old were you then?
See, that was 2005, so you do the math.
Oh man, that makes me feel out of shape. That story. So how'd you kill that buck? What was the story behind that?
I tracked him.
Tracked him,
No, actually, it's a funny story because I had been tracking a bigger buck, much bigger
Yeah.
than that one, at
Jeez.
footprint,
Right.
all day long. Could never catch up to him. He was smart. He would drop off a ledge, or I just could never get close enough to get a shot at him.
Right.
It was 2:30, 2:45, and it was getting dark, and later soon, and I said, well, let's head back to the truck, and I still hunt my way back, and I crossed a bunch of tracks, and this buck was with 2 or 3 does, and I said, well, I'll follow them. They're headed back towards the truck, and I didn't track him 15 minutes, and I was on him.
Okay.
He was bedded down. The does were milling around in a little bowl, and I'm scoping out all the does. I had nothing here. And all of a sudden, the sun was shining. I see a little flash of antler just on the side hill. I said, whoa. I pulled up on him, and I'm looking, and I couldn't find any horns, but I knew it had to be a buck. And all of a sudden, he turned his head, and I caught that glare off that big rack.
Yeah.
And then, boom.
Nice.
The rest is history.
Nice. Yeah. Is that your biggest one?
That's the biggest scoring rack that I've got. I've got
Yeah.
some other ones that are going to be close.
Right.
Might make the book too, but I've always, the last many years, I've tried to fly under the radar a little bit. And
Yeah.
you guys know
Yeah, we
what
do.
happens
Yeah.
when the word
Yeah.
gets out.
Yeah.
You know.
Like most Adirondack hunters.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've taken a few friends out, and after 2 days of hunting, they leave, never come back.
Yeah. That's like Hal says. You either
Yeah.
love it or you hate it. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, there's no damn deer up here.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
compared to this area. But,
0 deer.
So what is your go-to gun if you only had one gun? Because we were talking earlier, and for the fans, you have a lot of guns.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that a little more. But what is the go-to?
Well, it depends on. I look at the weather reports and see if we're going to have snow, and if it's going to be miserable and rainy and freezing and all of that. I like the Model 99 Savage, and the one I have that I use a lot is a 300. Yeah. I have a 358 also. But my go-to gun that I carry the most, and you can tell by the bluing being worn off, is the 760 in 30-06.
Yep, classic.
That's my honey.
Yeah. And we'll show that later.
Yeah, we'll show that. We'll grab it.
I've got it set up pretty good for big woods hunting.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you do.
have you had many lever guns that you've used? in your-
I don't care for the hammer guns.
No.
I just I've hunted with their guys that have a hammer gun and they're unloading it or loading it and bang, it goes off.
Oh yeah.
The old Winchesters and whatever. So I don't care for them. I have a couple, but I really don't use them much.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the 99. It's a slick gun. It's with the one with the top safety on it. It's ambidextrous. Because, there's times when you have to shoot left-handed.
Yeah.
I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
Shoot left-handed all the time.
Well, that's your problem.
Yeah. So where, I don't want to say where, but do you like the higher peaks, or do you like the river valleys? If it was a still hunt day, let's say there's no snow, and you're going to make a plan, what would be, for the fans, what would be the thing you would look for first?
Well, if it's country that I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. You're going in cold.
Cold hunting. I like to follow the streams up. It don't have to be a big stream. Could even be a dry bed.
Right. See.
But the deer seem to follow those as an easier walking path for them. And they're lazy. They always take the easiest way when they can. Mm-hmm. And follow it up. And I hunt high. I hunt the greens.
Okay.
Spruces and all of that on a day like that.
So when you go up high and you're going up around 2,800, 3,000 feet,
Yep.
and then you get, I call it the crown of thorns on top, right? You get into that sprucey.
Oh, that nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you go into that, or do you just stay?
No,
below it
I
and
try to
skirt it?
avoid running the deer out of the country I want to hunt. And if you go crashing through that stuff, you know what happens.
Yeah.
I will follow the edge. There's usually a fringe
Yes.
between the transition of hardwoods and green,
Yep.
softwoods. I follow that edge around, and look for runways and places where the deer might travel.
Gotcha.
And I like to hunt slow. I mean, you talk about still hunting, and my philosophy about still hunting is this: if you think you're going too slow, slow down more, because even tracking, you need to be looking more than you're moving.
Yeah.
Right.
And to be successful. I mean, I've stomped out of there, leaving a place or something, and spooked deer without even know they were there.
Right.
And it was my fault because I was moving too fast.
Right.
Noisy and all of that. Dry ground hunting is totally different.
So let me ask you, on a typical day of still hunting, on dry ground or even wet leaves, how much?
Oh, I like wet leaves.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's second best to snow. I think a lot of hunters will agree. So how far? You said you like to go slow, and if you feel like you're going slow, go even slower, which I think is great advice for me, especially. They could tell you I kind of run through the woods.
Yeah.
But
You're a hiker then.
I think so. I'm going for armed hikes.
I need
mostly.
you to go in this spot over here,
Yeah, I got you.
and I'll be in the
Right
other
back to
side.
you, exactly. So how many miles are you typically covering on a still hunt?
Probably in a day when I'm up for it. I'll be in the woods with a flashlight, and I leave with the flashlight.
Okay.
I'm probably covering 3 to 4 miles,
Right.
and
that
then
sounds about
circle and come back. I mean, I could go further, but I don't need to. I
Right.
mean, I'm in a good spot. I'm not going to leave that.
That's right.
It's like a buck with a herd of does and one's in heat. He's not going to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's going to stay in that area with the does.
Right.
So I have a question about that. So we'll go back to you're up on that mountain in the transition zone, crown of thorns above you, soft woods. You got some hardwood bowls and dips, and do you typically end up shooting the bucks below you at the how if you were to count them up in your head, where are you shooting them?
Well, I would say there's 3 prime times during a day. First is early morning when the bucks especially, are coming back into that crown of thorns, as you say.
Yeah.
And then midday, they get a little itchy. They want to get up and move, maybe change their location. Maybe the wind has changed, or they're hungry, whatever. And then the late afternoon hunt, which is my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
Late
poking
afternoon.
along and they move.
That's interesting because we talk about this a lot. Mark has a kind of a philosophy about your odds going up the longer you stay in the woods, and I find. I think this isn't just unique to me, but a lot of people feel like their odds are going down in that late afternoon. So I'm really interested to hear you say that. So you've had a lot of success in the late
The
afternoon.
last 2 hours of the day.
Yeah.
The bucks, especially when the rut's on. I mean, they know the general area where they can find their does. They've left them and they come roosting. I'm still turkey hunting.
Yeah, but no, that's an interesting cut. They're kind of just going high and roosting.
Yeah, they're going high and they're laying down in the thick stuff, and they'll stay there all day long unless somebody kicks them in the butt,
Right.
And then they come back down in the late afternoon, get a drink, sniff around and look for their does. So
Right.
I mean, that's where I try to be is intercept them in between the bedding and the doe area.
Right. Okay.
Again, you gotta pinpoint the rut.
Right. So I think we don't got to get into too much information, but I think you've hunted the high peaks a lot more than maybe other hunters we've had on. We tend to have a lot more South Central and Western Adirondack hunters, which is more swamps.
Yeah. I mean, we have swamps up there too, but
Yeah.
it's too hard to still hunt through a swamp with all the blowdowns and
Yeah.
deadfalls and brush and everything that's in your area. Unless you got snow, I tend to circle around and wait for something to come out.
Right.
Shake hands with them.
Yeah. Yeah. So you like those high peaks, though? It's
Side hills,
Yeah.
guts, valleys, where the old runways have been for hundreds of years.
Right.
And the deer are still going to travel in the same area.
Right.
Because it's easier for them. I mean, they will not work any harder than they have to,
Right.
especially when it's dry ground and it's warm.
Right.
That's a whole different ballgame because they don't want to move. They're wearing their winter coat.
Right.
It's like you running around with woolies this time of year.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I've done.
Not conducive to anything but sweat.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Do you hunt like a lot of working people? We got to pick our days.
Sure.
If you had advice about, and I think you're a teacher as your profession, so you were working during hunting season.
Oh yeah.
So would you hunt every weekend, or would you save your time for?
Well,
the
I had
rut, or-
I had some personal time and things that I could burn during the rut season, which was in the Adirondacks, as you probably know. It's usually around Veterans Day. For me has always been the prime time.
Right.
In November. I would take a week and go back into the camp that we'd set up or spend hunting out of a lodge or something like that.
Yeah.
So I would have that time, but I would dedicate it every weekend. I'm up there Friday night, Friday afternoon, bringing stuff in, setting up my food and getting ready to go, Sometimes I was alone. I'd be the only one in camp. And then other times there'd be a few guys that were weekend warriors, I call them,
Yeah. Yeah. And go ahead, Mark. You're about to ask something.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more about still hunting. So let's say, is your general experience that the deer, the bucks, the older bucks, are heading up, they're down in the lower lands during the night looking for does, chasing, feeding down in the swampy sort of green growth, playing all night, and then before dark they're heading back up to find a place.
They start to work their way back up to the high ground.
And your experience is they do that because they can see, because they're alone, they're isolated, they're safe. Yes, yeah, they can smell.
And the wind.
Yeah,
wind is your worst enemy as a deer hunter.
Yeah.
And then if you ask 10 deer hunters what the smelliest part of your body is, you won't get a correct answer out of most of them. But
your breath.
it's your mouth.
Yeah.
And so, if you eat an apple or suck on something with a different smell, it helps. It's not perfect, but it does help. I mean, I've got scent lock suits and clothes and all that. It's a big gimmick to marketing stuff, It doesn't help you in the woods, especially in the Adirondacks where the wind changes every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of swirling, and then you've got to deal with the thermals. The morning and afternoon wind direction just changes. Whoops. So, and the bucks know that. I mean, they're going to be up high as they can get, and the wind's coming up.
Yeah.
When it switches to go down, then it's when they go down.
That's right.
And you develop this skill as you put time in, and I learned the hard way. A lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
Yep.
me too.
Kick yourself in the butt. Say, "Whoa, why did I go over there?"
I know.
Yeah. Do you have any particular misses or close calls that stand out to you?
I will plead the fifth on that.
Yeah.
You don't have any that haunt you?
Oh
I
my
have
God, I
three
have
that
so
haunt
many.
Too many to get
Yeah.
into.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
So any bucks that you've killed? Of course, every buck is special, but are there any maybe early on in your hunting career that stick out to you, where you said, "Wow," and maybe something clicked? Do you ever have like a moment like that?
Yeah, that big 14-pointer that I've got there.
Yeah.
I hunted that deer. I know it was the same deer, but I didn't realize it until I had actually shot him for like 3 years in a row in the same general area. And that day I was chasing a bigger track, wasn't him.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards I said, "Well, that must be his daddy,"
Yeah. Right.
which it could have been. And I never saw the other one.
Yeah.
But this deer, I was in the area, and every weekend I would see the tracks and the scrapes and the rubs. I said, "Man, I got to find this deer." But as it turned out, I just accidentally stumbled onto his track and caught up to him.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to be a little bit lucky once in a while,
Yeah.
Deer's got to be lucky every day. I only get lucky once.
Yeah.
That's right.
Interesting way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, something.
No, I'm good.
Okay. So with that buck, you said you hunted him in same general area. Was he one of those that's a homebody, where a lot of these bucks, they could be 5 miles that way, 4 miles that way, and they're just rangy critters.
Oh, yeah.
You might never see them again.
Well, I think there's two different types of bucks. Like you said, the homebody bucks, they may not be as old, but I mean they still be respectable, and they've got their scrape lines out and the rubs and all that, and you'll pick up their scent and trails and stuff, and you can get in on them. You can still shoot a nice buck, but generally speaking, the older bucks that I've found are roamers a little bit more. They might go on this area and stay up high as long as his doe herd is still in heat, but when they're done, he's going to go to another spot. And if you know where that spot is, you got an ambush.
And so do you determine the area to ambush basically on sign? So you're going from pocket of sign to pocket of sign to pocket, and you're cataloging all that in your head. Is
The
that
sign and then terrain is in the area where I've spent most of my hunting. There's beech trees, but there's no beech nuts. There's no acorns. There really is very little food for these deer to eat.
Ferns.
Yeah, ferns and greens and whatever they can scrounge, browse a little bit.
Yeah.
There's no mast. There's no apples. There's no alfalfa fields. So, I mean, you've got to go where the food source is, first of all, and find the travel corridors in and out of those areas, because I think these deer are moving constantly.
Yeah.
They will feed their way across this mountain range and maybe cross a flow and go up on the next mountain range and come back. And it may take them 6, 8, 10 days to make that loop. And they're checking does along the way and laying out their scrapes. So if you have an area where you know there's bucks working, you put your time in those areas, You can use cameras. I don't like carrying extra crap around in the woods.
Yeah.
Especially tree stands. Oh my God, I don't carry a tree stand anymore at all because I can always hop up on a rock or a stump
Yeah.
and gain elevation.
Yeah.
And typically in the Adirondacks, I mean, there's side hills and ledges and all that where you can get your clear looks. You know?
Right.
And the bucks are smart. But they're moving a lot, and you see occasional bears and stuff like that. I ain't a big fan of bears. I don't.
Have you shot?
They kill too many fawns.
Have you shot many bears in the Adirondacks?
5, I think.
5. Yeah.
I have one upstairs that was probably 500 pounds.
That's a big bear.
Six footer.
bear.
I'll never do that again.
Yeah. So when you're killing them way back, you're dragging them, or you cutting them up like a?
Oh no, we've dragged everything.
Really? Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
boy.
But now that I'm 73 years old, a little smarter than I was when I was younger, I carry a little saw with me. It's not a meat saw, but it looks like one
Yeah.
in my pack. And if I ever get another one back in here like that one, I'm going to cut that sucker up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like when I'm hunting alone, you got to think about that.
Yeah.
If you got a gang of guys that are fairly close by, you can stay in connection with radios, and you might wait an hour for somebody to come and help you. But that's great deal, when you got somebody around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
No, you can't count on him. He's lefty.
No, I count on him.
Okay. So he's not let you down then.
No.
No, that's good.
I show up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Excited, right?
yeah.
Got your gun on one shoulder and your knife in the other hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you just told us about a buck that you shot on the run. About how many bucks of your Adirondack bucks have you shot on the run versus bedded or standing there feeding?
Yeah, I'm pretty good sneaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to get as close as I can, especially when there's snow on.
Yeah.
The offhand running shots, as you know, they're tough.
Yeah.
I've probably killed 3 or 4 nice bucks that are on the run, but they were fairly close.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. In Adirondacks, you can't see very far in the woods.
Yeah.
A scope, everybody says, well, you don't need a scope. Well, they're right, you don't. But my scopes are very low power.
Yeah.
And I can throw that gun up with a low 1.5 or 1 3/4 power, and quicker than you can find your sights on a peep or whatever.
Right.
So I've been pretty lucky of knocking them down with that setup, as you'll see in the 740
Yeah. Well,
or 760 over there.
yeah.
I've got it set up with both a peep sight, see-throughs, and a low power scope.
And I find the scope's nice because a lot of those shots you do get where you got to kind of thread the needle through some
Oh,
whips
yeah.
and stuff. It's nice to have. It's
Oh, yeah.
peep sight. You're just kind of like, yeah, it's there somewhere.
Yeah.
You know.
I want every advantage I can get.
Yeah.
And optics is great. I don't carry binoculars or anything.
Me
I
either.
don't want that lugging the crap around thing. But a scope is really nice. And these guys that hunt with 243s with 9 power scopes. I mean, you might just as well stay in the southern zone.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the furthest shot you think you've taken on a buck?
In the Adirondacks, no more than 100 yards
Yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah. Seems about right.
because you can't see that far.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I did get one at about 100 yards. I was on one side of a wash or gully, and he was on the other. And that's probably the farthest shot that I've made.
Right.
So when you're heading in the beginning of the season to a new area, you've looked at maps. Tell us the process you go through. So it's a few months out. You're getting prepped. You're getting in that headspace of, yeah. You're getting jacked up.
Winding up.
Yeah. So and you're thinking, I want to go into this area. I've always wondered about this quarter of the Adirondack Park. What do you do?
Well, as a former baseball high school coach, I have this thing called the 4 Ps: preparation, planning, practice, and play.
Yep.
We all know what the play is.
Right.
Sure.
Preparation is where you get into the looking at the maps and talking to people that have hunted this area, maybe the old timers. Oh, I love to listen to old timers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just fill my pockets with information from those guys,
Same.
And you helps you to learn the area a little bit and what to expect, and then practice is getting your gun shooting right. I've hunted with this guy for years. That only time he shoots his rifle is at a deer. Well, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
I shoot my gun a lot,
Yeah.
and I want to know where the gun shoots, not where I'm shooting.
Yeah.
Because there's everything imaginable that can happen to you. You can slip and fall, and bump the scope or whatever. So you really don't know that. You can't really rely on that 100%. You just do the best you can when the opportunity comes.
Right.
You know, and I can remember one deer. I tracked him around the side of a hill, and it was just barely breaking daylight. And I was on his track, and I looked up ahead, and there he was laying on the side of a hill right there. I was on the side hill, and as soon as I moved my footing a little bit to pull the gun up, I fell right down, almost on my face. I thought, oh, man, I'm never going to get a shot at this deer. He didn't move. He froze right there. Nice little 8-pointer.
Yeah.
And I pulled up, and bam, he never got out of his bed.
Yeah.
I was lucky.
Right.
Sometimes it's all you need.
Yeah, luck surely helps, but, you know, mix that with the peas that I mentioned and some skill and experience, and then you'll do well.
Do you use Onyx now?
I do. I have it,
You have it,
especially when I'm hunting locally here,
Right.
because it tells me where the landowners' lines are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Up there, it's hard to get a cell signal where I am,
Yeah.
and I use it when I can need to, but it's not reliable.
Yeah. You can download ahead of time.
Yes.
I can show you how to do that, by the way.
Okay.
So
cool.
yeah. That's
But I carry
way to do it.
maps, like that
Yeah.
map that's on the pool table
Yeah.
over there.
Well, nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
I print them up. I have the topo program. I piece them together. I change the scale and blow them up into the area where I want to hunt, and
Yep.
and then I know, use the compass tool and all that stuff on it.
Right.
It's a great tool.
Yeah.
And for beginners, a GPS.
Right.
Don't venture into the Adirondack deep woods without a GPS and a compass.
Right.
In your
Yeah.
bag. I carry 2 compasses because the first one always lies.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've never really been lost, but I've been confused a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
a little turned around
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's crazy.
It is crazy. I always tell people, it's the strangest thing when you're turned around and you don't know it.
Yeah.
And then I can remember a couple times up by Racket Lake, I'd come over Estelle Mountain when I was first learning to track, and I'd go, "What lake is that?" Well, from the distance,
I've done that before.
Like, and there's no lake in the middle of the Blue Ridge there. And then it would hit me. That's Racket Lake, and it's like the whole earth spun around in my head.
Yep.
You know?
Or you walk over and cut your own track.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's in here? Wait a minute.
Who in the hell followed me in here?
Yeah, wait a minute. I recognize that, right?
Yeah.
That's me.
And
Oh.
I have a weird. My feet are pigeon-toed,
Yeah,
and the guy I hunt with calls me 10-2 because he can always tell my track.
yeah,
I'm pigeon-toed, but it's worked for me.
yeah.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. Team member Mark Sharon here. A lot of you know that I've been coaching people with addictions for more than 36 years. Well, today we have an exciting announcement to make. While Michelle and I will continue to personally coach people as we always have, we're now providing a training course for those of you out there who might want to become a certified Freedom Model coach. This new coaching certification course is available to those with established coaching practices, those who are psychologists or psychiatrists or therapists, or anyone who is looking to get into the field of helping people with addictions to solve their problem for good. If you would like to get on the applicant list, email me directly at info@thefreedommodel.org. Again, here's that email address, info@thefreedommodel.org. We look forward to your interest and potential of working together to change the way people across the world are helped with addictions. Take care. Yeah.
So you started out hunting with your father and your
My uncles and cousins and everybody. Yep.
Yeah. And did you continue that tradition?
I have 2 boys. One of them hunts hard. He's a good hunter.
Oh, cool.
But he hunts locally mostly.
Yeah.
And my other son spent 18 years in the Army, and he's hunted people, and he
He's done.
don't want to.
Yeah. Understandable.
Which is okay. I didn't push him.
Yeah.
He's turkey hunted with me a few times.
Yeah.
Been to Alaska with me fishing.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I pass it on as much as I can, and I'm always somebody's got a youngster who's starting out, and they say, "Well, I want to go hunting, and but I don't know what to do," and I've got a 16-year-old. I said, "Well, bring him along.
Yeah.
We'll show him the ropes.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that at all."
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, because once you're bitten, especially by the big woods, I grew up in the southern zone, so I hunted.
That's your problem.
Yeah, well, it was kind of lame, and I'd get a lot of people pissed off at me because I was always roaming around and
Yep.
getting in people's territory and stuff. And once I slept, I was 13 years old, and I slept for the first time in the Faro Mountain Wilderness with my brothers for 2 days, and I had never felt such peace.
Yeah.
And
Tranquility.
like I fit.
Yep.
It sounds weird, but
you hear the birds chirping in the morning, but just before the sun comes up.
Yep.
And the owls have been hooting all night, and the bears howling back and
Yes.
forth to one
Yes.
another, and bobcats too.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's an eerie feeling when you're in a tent or a sleeping bag with a tarp over your head, and a bobcat screams right behind the tent.
Yeah.
That'll get your attention.
Yeah. It's interesting because back in the day when you first started going with your father and your uncles, did you think of it as big woods hunting as something different than down here, or was it just hunting?
It was just deer
It
hunting.
was just hunting. Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing that had any special qualities other than trying to shoot a buck.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
we worked hard at it.
yeah. But back then I would guess this would have been the 60s.
60s, yeah.
Okay, so I think there were more deer then than there are now. Do you have that
Yeah,
sense?
I think there was because a lot of the transition from the private land to the state ownership,
Yeah.
there was a lot of logging going on prior to the state taking over,
Right.
and some of that remnants of that was still around. There was still some logging roads here and there, but
Right.
big difference between where Hal and the Benoits have hunted in Maine is because they have the logging roads
Yeah.
and the logging activity, which
Yeah.
promotes that new growth, beech whips and saplings and all that stuff. This is a great deer country.
Yeah, there's an understory.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't really have that in the Adirondacks unless you're hunting on private land that's been logged. So, it makes it a lot harder to pinpoint where the deer are feeding, especially on dry ground, and picking your spots. But if you can find a transition area between private and public, it's great
Yeah.
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 because they do travel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead.
I'm interested in getting a little more into the stories of the old days. Did you have, the days of wall tenting?
Yeah.
Did you have any lessons from your father or your uncles that stand out to you about how to hunt in the big woods in the Adirondacks? Or
I might have. My memory is not
comes to
that
mind.
good anymore, but
Yeah.
I did hunt in the Five Ponds Wilderness area with a couple of guys
yeah,
out of a tent. And we hauled all of our crap back in there and got the permit and set up in September or whatever we were allowed to, and
Yep.
traveled by boat across the lakes and stuff like that. And that was some of the greatest times of my life in the woods.
Yeah.
Because it was just amazing kind of hunting, and if I was healthy enough to do it again, I would start doing it tomorrow.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is special.
Yeah,
Do-
it's a whole different backpacking adventure because you have the camping part of it, and then you have the hunting aspect of it, and then the camp camaraderie and the
yeah.
games and all that stuff that goes on in the camp.
Well, the audience will laugh because we're sponsored by Seek Outside, so they'll laugh because we're always plugging it. But we're plugging it because it's a great way to hunt. But
Yeah,
the
it
Seek
works.
Outside tents, these hot tents now, instead of carrying back a 50-pound canvas tent, you
Yeah.
can carry back a 5-pound wall tent,
Yeah.
or Seek Outside hot tent, and it's got a little lightweight titanium
Yeah,
stove. So you
we didn't
still
have
get
that.
after it.
We had
Yeah.
one campsite we had was tarps.
yeah,
Poles that we found laying on the ground, prop it all up, and if it snowed, you had to clear it off so it didn't collapse.
yeah,
And an old cast iron stove.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It was heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, let me ask you this too, because we always talk about this, and I want to get your take as somebody who's been around for a little bit. Was there way more pressure back in the day? Was there a lot more hunters? Do you think, or is there more now?
I think there's more pressure now. The hikers, to me, and they're there now, all
They didn't
summer
used to be.
long.
Yeah.
No, they were never around, and that I think puts a little bit of pressure on the big woods area because they're bumping into the deer, even though maybe the deer's never seen a person before. I call them beaners. Because they got $3,000 worth of bean equipment on their back and on their bodies and everything,
That's them.
And it's great stuff. If you can afford it, go for it. I'm a Woolrich guy. I like the old stuff. I buy it at garage sales all the time. But those experiences, the deer remember that. Just like blaze orange. Well, everybody swears about the blaze orange and all that stuff now. I'm not colorblind. So I know what blaze orange looks like. And I'm sure a deer remembers what it looks like when there's a bad experience. So
so
I
you've
wear the minimum.
So you've always hunted in wool since you started way back in the day, and your father and uncles did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Johnson green wool pants. And they might be 40 pounds when you walk out in the afternoon,
Yeah.
but you're not cold.
Yeah.
You're just
Right.
lugging a lot of water around in them pants. I hang them up over the wood stove, and by morning they'd be dry and ready to go again.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the problems I had when I was starting out is I didn't have good footwear. And I tried a bunch of different products. Eventually settled on the felt line snowmobile type boots. And they were the answer. And then and later on after that, I smartened up and started getting into they were called Northerners back in the day, the green pack boots.
Yeah.
They were good too, because a lot of where I hunted was wet, snow and crossing streams and all of that. So those green pack boots were good too.
That's what we use. The lacrosse.
Lacrosse
Yeah,
makes them.
lacrosse.
But I have wide feet, and I can't get my foot in and out of the lacrosse because they got that ankle fit feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great for some folks, but I can't get them off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough the first few times.
Yeah,
Got to
yeah.
break them in. Yeah.
But as the equipment has changed so much now, it's so much better.
Yeah.
We didn't have GPSs. We had an old military compass. We started out in a pocket full of maps,
Yeah. Right.
Now we hunt with radios and everything. It's great.
Did you ever just pack up a tarp, pack up what you needed for a couple of days, put it on your back, and just go in and do it solo?
Oh yeah, many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd fix up whatever kind of food we could afford at the time, and sandwiches, whatever, leftovers usually.
Yeah.
Throw it in the pack and take off and go. Candy, apples. I like to carry apples because that's a natural smell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And apples are good refreshment when you're dry.
Yeah.
And throw the core out for the chipmunks.
Yeah. Yeah. With any luck, an apple tree will grow your favorite spot.
Yeah, no, well, they don't last. The squirrels get them.
Right.
But
I think we're 40 minutes in. We usually take a break here. We'll hear from some of our sponsors. We hope you consider them. We considered them carefully, and we use everything that we promote. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Guy Swears. All right. This podcast is brought to you in part by Minus 33. Minus 33 is a wool and textile manufacturer based in New Hampshire that is producing top-notch merino wool base layers and socks. Layering your clothes when you're hunting the big woods is key. As we've discussed on the podcast, the conditions and distances involved in hunting the Adirondacks mean that you have to take your gear seriously. You can't afford to not have the best gear, and that's particularly true of your base layers. Minus 33 long johns should be an essential part of your gear system to keep you warm while you're out in the Adirondack backcountry. As for socks, I've tried dozens of pairs of wool socks over the years, and Minus 33 Heritage socks are by far the comfiest. If you go on the Minus 33 website, you can read about the care that they've taken to create these socks. And once you put them on, the difference is obvious. They are perfect for long days hoofing it up and down mountains in the Dacks. So get prepped for the next season now by clicking on the link in the description and getting stocked up on Minus 33 merino base layers and socks. Happy hunting. Hi, Brian Connor, host of the Adirondack Hunt Podcast here. We're excited to announce our partnership with the most respected and recognized land company in the Northeast, Christmas and Associates Land Company. Owners Dan and Mark Christmas are two upstate New York natives with deep roots in the Adirondacks and Tug Hill Plateau, as well as two of the best big woods hunters you'll meet. Whether it's a newly constructed camp surrounded by state wilderness or a comfortable family getaway, their team of experienced land guides are the best at matching folks with the perfect land track at an affordable price and a simple, easy process. They even provide financing. Christmas Land Guides will provide full land tours using ATVs, snowmobiles, and even snowshoes so that you can scout every acre of your property. In addition to finding just the right tract, Christmas Land and camp staff can help you construct the camp you've always dreamed of using our in-house master builders. Every camp is overbuilt, carefully located, and rock solid. Whether you're a first-time buyer or an experienced landowner, Mark, Dan, and all the land and camp staff will strive to make your search a quality, once-in-a-lifetime experience. For over 30 years, no one in New York State has provided more big-buck properties and family hunting camps to hundreds of folks who love the woods than Christmas and Associates Land Company. Dan, Mark, and the rest of the Christmas family remain dedicated to wise land conservation and treating everyone they meet like family. Always available 7 days per week, unless there's fresh tracking snow. Contact Land and Camps by calling 1-800-229-7843 or visit them on Facebook or go to landandcamps.com. All right, guys, welcome back. So we're sitting here talking to Guy Swears, getting some great Adirondack stories, and we figured this would be a good opportunity to talk guns. Mark, if you want to tee us off on that subject, you'll need your mic.
Yeah, sorry about that. So this is your 760.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
I actually bought that gun secondhand, and I'd had a 742 before that, which I liked, but it was just getting a little heavy for me. I bought this gun, and I like the low power scopes for quick shooting. You can grab the field of view very quickly with the low power scopes, and be right on the shoulder in the blink of an eye. But there were times, of course, hunting in the Adirondacks, it's snowing, it's raining, it's freezing, your scope is fogged up on the outside or whatever. And so I put this Williams peep sight underneath with the see-through mounts, which I can throw that gun up, and if I don't want to use a scope, drop right down to the peep, and boom, and it's right on. They don't interfere with one another. If you're going to do it, you have to look around for the right mounts and everything for your rifle, but it's been great for me.
I'm really impressed because obviously it's been carried a lot by the lack of bluing, but it's in really good shape still.
Yeah, that's
well taken care
my
of.
sweetheart go-to gun.
You know, most that are missing bluing like that have like
Seen some
half
miles.
rotted wood that's all smashed. And
I'd like to have $1 for every
Terrible.
mile I've carried that.
Yeah.
I would like to have $1 for every mile you carried that.
Same.
It's seen some use, and most of those bucks up there, probably half of them at least, were shot with this gun.
No kidding, yeah.
So this is a 30-aught.
30-06, yeah.
Okay, and for the followers and fans, it's a 5-diamond model here, which is a kind of a more rare model, which is really cool.
What ammo do you shoot out of it?
I like a 180 grain for up north. I have shot some 150s locally here because there's agricultural crop fields where you're going to need to reach out a little further.
Yep.
But mostly that's my Big Woods gun right there.
Yep. And what kind of scope is that?
I don't remember. It might be a
I'm half blind.
Vortex.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I can't
and,
remember.
and what power?
It's a variable 1.5 or 1 3/4 to 5, I think.
Okay.
But I carry it right around 2 all the while.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We use 1 to 4s.
Yeah, I've got a couple 1 to 4s that are older scopes, and I don't know how much nitrogen is left in them, so I've switched to this one in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, we always just leave them right on 2 power
Yep.
most of the
Yep.
time.
You don't need any more than that, and I've seen guys that have missed opportunities on bucks because they've had the thing cranked up to 7, 8, 9 power,
Yeah.
and they just don't need that much power.
And forget. Like,
Yeah,
they'll crank
well,
it up to look at something.
I've done
and
the
then
same
forget
thing,
to turn
you
it
know.
down. And yep.
Crank it up to go looking at something and forget to put it back down, and then you end up. That's when you're going to see the deer.
Always.
Of course.
Always the time.
And so this one is not a carbine. This is a
No,
rifle.
That's a long one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've
Interesting.
been looking for a carbine, but they're getting kind of spendy and hard to find.
Crazy money.
Yeah.
Crazy money right
Over
now.
$2,000 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to Big Woods Bucks.
I'll-
Well, yeah. But what year did they come out? 181 in the pump?
well, the 760s had carbines all the way back in the 60s,
Did they?
but
Okay.
yeah, they've produced them all the way through.
I like the carbine. A friend of mine had a 742 in the carbine.
Oh yeah,
He
that's a nice
carried a
gun.
lot. You know.
That's a nice gun. So tell us about this gun here. This
Well, this gun is another weapon that I picked up secondhand, and I customized this just recently with the Skinner sights on it, and this is my stormy gun, I call it. And when it's a nasty weekend or week and you don't know what you bring out in the woods, I always have this one in the truck.
Yeah.
As a backup gun.
And
But you should have a backup gun anyway, I think,
Yeah.
because you can fall and hit your scope. You don't know where it's going to shoot. Don't want to, mess up your hunting spot by firing it. So you go to the backup gun.
right.
I mean, I have this one in 300 Savage. I have it in a 358 and 303 Savage too.
And so you like that 358 Winchester,
I
don't
do.
you?
I've got 4 or 5 of them.
That's interesting
awesome.
because it's funny. That's a round most people don't know about, but
Yep.
after we've talked with several
Jim Abbott.
Jim Abbott and others that I've talked with privately, that if you're in the know kind of thing in the big woods, the 358 is such a balanced hammer.
Yep.
It is such a great round.
Yeah, my grandfather actually had one in the Model F in a 358, and growing up, that I would sneak out of the house once in a while and play around with, and I didn't hunt with it much because he called it his big gun, and he was always carrying it. But after he passed away, it got away from me, and I didn't get it. But I found another one like it from a guy in Stony Creek here a few years ago. So I have that, and then I have a Ruger Model 77 chambered in 358, which I like.
Yeah.
And then I have another Mossberg I can't remember the model number, that I sent out to the guy out there, Jess, 358 by Jess.
Yes.
And he rebored it and did a tremendous job.
Did he? JES Boring.
GES Boring,
That's
yeah.
right, just Boring.
And he did a great job, and that thing is a tack driver.
Is it?
And it's lighter than my Ruger, which I like.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It ain't a valuable gun, and I don't care because it shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it works, it works. I mean,
Yeah, that's it. It ain't about money. It's about what you can do with it. It's the same thing from guys that say, well, this gun will drive tacks at 100 yards off the bench and everything. Well, that's great. But what will it do in the woods when you got to throw that thing up in a split second at a running deer or deer that's just trotting even?
Right.
What can you do with it then? And the proof is in the pudding. Look at the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I've struggled with. And,
Yeah.
Our users. That's really helpful to our users, our listeners. There's another thing I want to ask you about. We spoke briefly. You were telling us there's more pressure now than in the past. Is that right?
Yeah, I think people are watching the podcasts and reading all the stuff from Hal and Lenny and all those guys up there. And there's some guys that are gung ho that'll venture out there, and that's great.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take them out. I'll hold their hand.
Yeah.
Teach them what they need to know.
Careful what you wish for. We got a big audience.
Well, I'm 73 and I'm not moving too good right now. But anyway, I think it's great to be able to pass some of this stuff on. And this podcast is a great source for people to learn what they can. I learned a lot, too, by listening to old people.
Yeah.
I had a great uncle. Well, he wasn't really I guess he was my cousin, third, fourth removed. We called him Uncle Grover.
Right.
Yeah.
He was a forest ranger out of the Stony Creek area, Hadley Mountain, Hadley Hill. And he was in the woods every day, winter time, all the time. And he had one of those 300 Savage Model 99s. And we visit him on Sundays occasionally. And he would sit there, and he was a chain smoker. He would have cigarettes on both sides, one after another.
Yeah.
I remember that. But anyway, he was old. He was like 78, 79, 80 maybe. I don't remember. And he would tell stories about hunting the Adirondacks. And it was just, my brain was froze on things that he talked about. And at the time, I was 12, 13 years old, just beginning. But I learned about the woods and the deer and how they respond to different things, and he was a resource that I wish I could still use. Of course, he's been dead for a long time, and he didn't like banks. He would not cash his paychecks.
No guys like that.
Yeah. I mean, of course, he was through the Depression and all that.
Interesting.
And the state of New York, I think the controller's office would come up and take him by the hand and make him cash paychecks.
Yeah.
He didn't need the money. He lived on a mountain on Swears Road.
Is that how you pronounce your name? Swears?
Swears.
Oh, okay.
It's like
Apologies,
Sears, only
I was
throw a
saying
W
Swears.
in there.
Yeah, all right, gotcha.
Everybody makes that mistake.
Gotcha.
But anyway, he would take money and he would hide it all over the house. And I was a kid. I was exploring and looking here and there. And I'd open up a box and there'd be $100 bills in there and coins and everything. I said, "Wow, this is great."
I love this guy.
Yeah. But great guy. Great guy would tell stories and give you information. All you had to do is ask him the question and he would give it to you.
I feel the same way. That's how I started and got introduced to some of my favorite people in hunting. And some of my best mentors. Spend hours just talking to them, just absorbing it.
You know, where I'm hunting now, I mean, there's a few old timers that lived in the area, and every chance I get, I stop in and, you know, if I got something to give them, I give them something, and then we'll sit by the wood stove and chit chat and tell lies and
that's
drink
the best.
beer and all that bad stuff.
So
but it was great.
Yeah. So back to pressure. I'm curious. We've kind of seen a phenomenon in the last few years, along with the Big Woods box and the kind of Big Woods explosion of people getting after it, which we think is great. But the out-of-state plates. Did you used to see out-of-state plates like Vermont? And
I can remember in the Baker's Mills area back in the late 60s and 70s, there was a few New Jersey hunters.
Yeah.
That was common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nothing from any further than that I can remember. And they were newbies, I call them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would set up a tent, and it would, they'd be half a mile from the tent all day,
Yeah.
They didn't reach out there, And that's one thing that I learned from my uncles and everybody, that you got to get out there. You got to take that map and that compass, and we didn't have GPSs then, but just take off. Go.
Yeah.
Can't be afraid to get lost. Like I said, I've been confused quite a few times. But I always came out to something, and helps you out, when you got that resource of a map or a compass, and go.
Well, if
And
you
that's
know
how
how to
you
use
learn the
them.
country.
You can't get lost.
And there was a few other locals that you would bump into once in a while, but again, it was almost always close to the road.
So where did you bump into the Salernos? I think we should touch on
Actually, Pat and I met at, I believe it was a antique snowmobile site,
that. Okay.
and he's into antique cars just like I am,
Yeah.
and old snowmobiles because I used to race back when I was crazy. And he collects a lot of these old sleds. And he was looking for some parts for a sled. I don't remember what one it was. But we started chit-chatting about things. And I recognized the name. And I asked him about deer hunting. Oh, yeah. He started talking. We started talking deer hunting. And now we're going to do something a little different than what I've done before. And that's we're going to work with the Solano brothers and produce a video on the Big Woods hunt.
That's awesome. Had you
that's
filmed
awesome.
hunts before?
No, only turkey hunting because it's too hard. My equipment is like old now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to carry that great big camera around and a battery.
We'll show a picture
Great
of that
big
camera on the
Supplies
screen.
and everything,
understatement.
And I have two of them.
Yeah.
with the portable mics or cordless mics and all that. I just never got into carrying it around for whitetail hunting. I was too serious about doing my thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
But turkey hunting was a whole lot different. You could set up and call them to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Austin, you had a question on the break about the dogs, the coyotes.
Coyotes, yeah.
Yeah.
They are a problem.
When did you notice the coyote population growing?
Well, on the farm, which wasn't far from here, I can remember never had coyotes. We never had wild turkeys.
That's right.
And then one year, my grandfather shot, he called it a coy dog.
That's what they were called then.
Yeah, but I think it was a coyote that had mange. It was pretty sickly looking, and someplace I still have a picture of it. And he shot it with that old 303 Savage, model 99 lever action. And he had it hanging in a tree. He was pretty proud of it, but I didn't know what it was. And then, time went on. That was probably in mid-'60s.
Wow.
It started to happen. I was a big small game hunter, rabbits, and I had beagles and all that. And I started seeing big changes in the small game populations, especially poults, turkeys. That came in about in the 80s. And then up north, they just, boom, they just were everywhere. And in the deep woods, they're a problem, as well as the black bears.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, I would venture to say, and this is a non-professional guess, 25 to 30% of the fawn crop goes to predators.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Did you buy one off him?
I have a 303 Savage 99 takedown model. I have two of them, actually, that I bought in Alaska
Nice.
from a pawn shop, and it's nice gun. Oh, boy, does that shoot. It's like a 30-30, same basic round as a 30-30.
Can you get ammo for that?
Oh, yeah.
No
yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, you can still get it. I've got, of course, I saved my empties, and a friend that will reload them. We've got the dies.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
But if you set the 30-30 and that 303 Savage next to each other, and you cannot tell the difference
Yeah.
unless you look at the base. The 303 Savage has a little wider brass rim on the base.
Oh, it does. It's wider.
A little bigger, yeah. Not
kidding.
much, but a little bit bigger.
I'd like to see that.
I've got some, yeah. And I like that gun because it's a takedown model. Take the barrel off and the four-piece and everything, and there's a little tool on the four-piece that you can break the barrel out of it. Put it right in the suitcase.
You got to be in the.
Mike guy.
You put it in a little suitcase about yay big, It's amazing if you want a backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have two of those guns. I have the original 303 that my grandfather hunted with for 40 years. He bought brand new for $15 in like 1915 or whatever. I don't know. I never checked the serial number on it.
Yeah.
But and that one I can't get apart because it hasn't been apart much. And I saw him shoot the head off partridge with it before, and that has the Savage Lyman tilt peep sight on it.
Oh wow, on the
I
tang.
I could never shoot that sight because it was too close to my eye. I have long arms, and that's a little short stock on that. But boy, he could shoot it.
Yeah, interesting. So the Coyote really started coming in the '60s and '70s.
Started then, yeah.
That's what I've heard too.
And I started trapping. I was trapping them back in the '70s, along with other canines and coons and muskrats and all that. I mean, I was out of work. I'd worked for DEC and gotten laid off at the end of the season, and that's how I fed my family. That and deer hunting.
I remember, I was every time I talked to the young guys, I'm talking like in their 20s and younger than Austin.
Well, they're youngsters compared to us
Yeah,
old folks.
I'm 55 now, and I say I remember when there was no turkeys. They said that's not true.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, there was no turkeys. There was no coyotes. It was
Hawks,
just
eagles.
Yeah, there was no
Oh, yeah,
hawks.
same
for
thing with the
DET.
eagles.
Yeah, that's right. There was no eagles.
This is Saratoga County here, in 1982 was the first turkey season, spring turkey season, and I believe it's the first gobbler, about a mile from here.
No kidding.
One big one, little Jake. I called like 6 of them out of the woods and came right to me.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, there was no turkeys.
Yeah, I remember it was 1984, and me and my brother came to a field, and I looked, and I was like, oh my God, that's a wild turkey.
Yeah.
We were like, we had no idea. We had seen pictures of them.
Yep.
But it was like an apparition, and it was all the rage then.
Was
And
there
they
music
exploded.
and fog and things?
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. I can remember the first big gobbler I saw strutting, which is about 5 miles from here. It was in the edge of a field and side hill, and it was all fanned out. And a beautiful bird, big one too. And what the heck is that? A peacock?
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was a peacock, and it was a dandy.
Yeah.
Never did get it, but
Guy, I want to ask you quickly about 200-pound bucks. You mentioned you've shot at least one. I'm curious if you find the High Peaks has more 200-pound bucks, or how many 200-pound bucks do you think you've shot in the Adirondacks?
oh, I've probably 3, maybe 4, but
Yeah.
It's got to be an older deer. I mean, they don't get that extra length and girth to them and the belly sag until at least 4.5, and probably beyond that even.
Yeah.
I have a picture on my phone of 3 bucks that we killed out of this camp I'm working in, and it was in a weekend. And I had a nice 10-pointer. It's his rack right there. I was pretty proud of that until I showed it up to the guy shows up with another 10-pointer that was half again longer than mine, but that deer was 7.5 years old.
Right.
And that was well over 200 pounds. I don't think we even weighed it,
I think genetics has a lot to play in the Adirondacks when it comes to 200-pound deer.
I do.
I do too.
Yeah, and the feed source is another thing. I mean, like I said before, they're always moving. It depends on the area. It's a bonus if you find beech nuts. I think in the last 15 years, I can remember maybe 1 year where there was a good, decent beech nut crop.
Yeah. Right.
And I wish I could predict it.
Like, I've noticed certain areas
Yeah.
will produce 200-pound deer. Like, you'll talk to people and you'll hear about these 200-pounders that are shot, and it's usually in the same, this town,
Clusters.
that town, where you and I hunt, it's 180 pounds is a big deer.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
And they're
But it might be 150 inches.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it might be a 7.5-year-old, and he's 160 pounds,
Yeah.
165.
Yeah, and of course the timing too, with the ruts on and deep into the season, they're going to drop a lot of weight.
Oh yeah.
I've never been a big fan on weight. I mean, if it fits in the freezer,
Yeah.
Kind of more of a New England thing. I am curious though, because there is a bit of a pet theory that I've heard bandied about the High Peaks. It looks more like Maine in terms of boreal forest. which
Steeper
makes
country,
sense.
though.
Yeah, and I've heard people just kind of So one of the things Hal talks about is this. There's 27 subspecies. I think I got 20.
Yeah.
Got that right. 27.
seen that,
It's the boreal, white-tailed borealis.
Right.
And I've heard kind of this pet theory of like the high peaks have that same subspecies, and maybe even like northern New York, like the true North Country up around like I don't know Canton or Potsdam,
Lake
have that.
Placid and up
St.
in that
Lawrence.
area, yeah.
I'm curious if your experience has been having somebody who's hunted the high peaks, because we don't talk to a lot of people who've hunted the high
Yeah,
peaks. But do you think they're bigger there weight wise?
Again, I think it's primarily age.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you have deer in the area and they reach that peak age where they're prime, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5 years old, and the feed is there, the winters are important.
Yeah.
They're going to be decent, close to 200, maybe more.
Right. Right. Gotcha.
But I don't know if I want to drag any more 200-pound deer alone.
Yeah. I'm just trying to shoot something.
I still have nightmares about that day.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So, Guy, I wanted to ask you. You told us an interesting, really colorful deer story just before we started. Do you have any other? I mean, you're a wealth of stories, like I said. But do you have any other, or can you describe that story you were telling us? And
Yeah.
it was
This is out of the Five Ponds Wilderness area, which is a huge area, beautiful country. Various peaks and swamps and valleys and hills. And I had 2 weeks before this conclusion of the story, I had seen a nice deer come down, and I had to go to the bathroom. Nature was calling, and I tried not to do it, but I had to. So anyway, I got the gun laying across my lap, the 760.
yeah.
And I look up the hill, and here comes this monster buck. He's coming right down to me, and I said, "Oh man, what am I going to do now?" And I pulled up and let one fly at him and didn't get him. So about a week or two later, we're back in the tent again, and I had this rookie kid with me, maybe 14, 15, 16 years old, I don't remember. And he's carrying a Marlin 35 Remington, And I said, Danny, you sit right here where I was when I saw that big buck. I got to go around the mountain where I think he went. So I did, and he was there, and of course the buck came to me.
Right.
Nice, where is he? Right over my head here with a wide board. Nice 10 point.
Oh yeah.
Nice one. Funky
Yeah.
antler on
Got
that.
a funny antler on it there. And of course, Mike thought he thought he was going to kill it, in that spot. But
Yep.
it's just luck would have it that I figured that he was, because we'd seen him there once and bumped him, that he would drop off the mountain early, and he did. And I got him. But that was kind of an interesting area to hunt because you had all kinds of opportunities with swamps and hills and ridges, and so you could pick your poison, sort of. Mm-hmm. There was one area we called the pin cherries. I remember a lot of cherry trees were in there. Mm-hmm. And, of course, when the cherries are dropping, black bears, they just love it. They're in there like, this is gourmet.
Yeah, it's like jelly to them.
Yeah. And we hunted that occasionally. We shot some decent bucks in there and a few bears. But there was just a smorgasbord of opportunities, whatever kind of hunting you wanted. And I can remember that area where there was beaver ponds and beaver flows. I saw my first New York State eagle in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So tell the fans the story about I don't want to say the spot, but where the deer was jumping like a mule deer.
Say it, and I'll edit it out.
Area.
Yeah, we'll just edit that.
It was
out.
deep snow, bitter cold. And we had talked to a trapper that was trapping coyotes in the area. And he said there was a big buck in there. So my buddy and I, we split up and went our separate ways, and we're poking along. And there was tracks everywhere, so you couldn't really sort out the track you wanted because the snow was so deep and it collapsed in on top of the track. And all of a sudden I heard my buddy holler. So I looked up in the direction where he was, and I see this deer. I thought it was an antelope, big deer. And he's bouncing, poof, 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 like that. I said, how am I going to get a shot at that guy? He was coming through the beach whips and everything, It had been logged probably 10 years before. So there was a stump in front of me about the size of that table right there, and I jumped up on top of the stump and pulled up, and I waited for him to step into this one little clearing, and boom. And I hit him good right in the back a little bit, and it broke his back. So he was crawling around and leaving, and I got a couple more shots at him before he left. But I got him, and it was the weirdest sight I'd ever seen. It looked just like an antelope, Well, you've seen maybe the mule deer, how they bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just what he was doing.
Kind of hop.
That's so
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah.
How deep was the snow?
Oh, it was up to my knees.
Yeah. So maybe that was the most efficient way to get through the snow for him.
Yeah, I think it's hard for him to pull his foot all the way out
Yeah.
and make any time.
Get tired.
Because he was trying to make time.
Yeah.
He Mach 7.
yeah.
All right.
That's interesting.
I've seen a few of them like that I don't even bother shooting because I know I'm never going to catch up with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But that's part of the game.
Yeah.
That's what the adventure and the challenge comes in, and that's what drives me. I mean, I've had years where I could have shot small bucks and I let them go because I was looking for something a little better, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers have done the same thing. And I just like the hunt, not just the thrill of the hunt, but the challenge
I love it.
of being out there in the wilds and putting myself against smart animals and see who comes out on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best.
And I think if any people are just starting out, they need that motivation. You can't be a weekend warrior, as I call them. The guys that come in once a year and they want to leave by noon on Sunday because they got to watch football or whatever. I don't go for that. If I'm going to put the time into this big country, I'm going to make the commitment and do it. And I think to be successful, like I have and a lot of people I know, you've got to put the time in. And be committed to it. Even if you come out empty, there's all these memories that are in the hard drive for you.
And lessons. Just, You learn.
Oh yeah,
a
you
lot,
learn.
You know?
You learn a lot.
You learn more from the deer you don't kill.
That's right.
That's right.
Or the misses.
Yeah.
I've had a few of those.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting too, and I think this is important. A lot of times, you have a day where especially this is so true when you're beginning in the big woods, and you go a week and you don't see a deer.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, I suck. And you get really depressed and you're like, this is just impossible. And then you go to a camp. And you go to a camp with really good deer slaying old timers like yourself. And you're talking around the camp and they're like, oh, yeah, I haven't seen a deer in a few days. And you kind of perk up as the newcomer. You're like, you too? And they're like, well, of course.
Doesn't bother them.
Doesn't bother them at all because they know that the next day they might kill the biggest buck of their life, and if they
It
keep
can
at
change in a blink.
yeah. And Hal said it to me years ago when I was getting really discouraged when I was beginning, and he said, you'll be a hero or a 0 to a hero in 3 seconds.
Or less.
Yeah, he goes, you don't have to worry about it. You're putting it's all nickels in the bank.
But if you have the commitment to keep going,
for sure,
don't quit.
that's right.
Never
Yeah, as long as you keep going,
Never quit.
eventually it's going to work
I'm
out.
73 and failing in a few areas, but I'm still not going to quit.
Right,
As long as I can get out there, I'm going to get out there
that's right.
and pound the woods.
Yeah.
They call me the Ridge Runner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it.
That and swivel toes.
Yeah. 10 to 8. Or 10
10 to 2.
to 2.
10 to 2, yeah.
10 to 2. That's great.
I'm a little bow-legged and pigeon-toed.
Yep. All right. Well, this has just been amazing, Guy. I think that was what you had just said earlier was one of the best encapsulations of the big woods hunting experience I've ever heard. It was great. So I can't think of a better way to end it. Thank you for your time and for
having us.
and for having us and for your contributions to the big woods community. I have no doubt people.
Well,
are
I
gonna find this
appreciate the opportunity to share what I have. Even if I never get out in the woods again, at least I can pass something on. Like I told
Yeah.
you before, I loved to talk to the old timers growing up, and I still do.
Yeah.
And we have some guys that can't get out in the woods anymore that we take care of, and just talk to them. That's all. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have those opportunities, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And spend the time in the woods. Don't quit. Don't quit early. No matter how discouraged you are. I mean, I've had times where I've gone a couple of weeks without even seeing a track on fresh snow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you stumble into the right area, and then everything breaks loose, and
that's right.
then it's fun.
Yeah.
That's right.
Love it. All right. So we're going to end there. Thank you all for listening, and hit us up with any comments that you may have for Guy, and I'll pass them along to Guy. And we'll see all you legends next time. Take care.
Take care.
Later.
Thanks for tuning in to the Adirondack Hunt Podcast. You can find more episodes at bigwoodsbucks.com. Check out bigwoodsbucks.com for the latest gear, including our famous American-made wool hunting jackets, wool hunting fanny packs, and wool hunting pants, along with books, tracking guides, and logo wear. See you next time.